Hey everyone, Bob Kendall here. Just want to thank you all for watching my videos. If you do want to support the channel, go to www.kendallreport.com/wavetech. Sign up for our software. You get market grid on 165 individual stocks and indices. You also will get 16,500 buy and sell signals on our entire database. I thank you so much for supporting the channel. Those of you that already signed up, thank you so much. Welcome everyone to the Kendall Report. This is the final recorded report for March of 2021. Yes, these are government issued 3x5 cards, exact same ones that the President of the United States uses with 14-point type. So let's go ahead and get into this. Just all joking to the side, there's a lot of stuff that's going on. Markets have been incredibly quiet. I'll go through all the technical details here in a minute. We're into the third day of sideways after last Friday's RTX sell signal. So we've been completely flat. The markets have been featureless for all this week. We do have the ADP numbers coming out in the morning, but in the live stream tomorrow, we're going to talk about MMT, universal income. We're going to talk about taxes and the impact of all of these things that they're going to have on the markets. This is going to be significant. I won't throw any punchlines out there tonight. I want you to come to the live stream tomorrow and participate. I think it's going to be very interesting tomorrow. And if nothing else, if you can't be at the live stream, watch the replay tomorrow night. As we look back on yesterday, the only real feature was the Russell was up 1.7 as it claws back to get that leadership back. I will show you the spread chart briefly tonight just to illustrate that it's really not done a lot to get back into that leadership role. And we're in this noisy period in the spread. There's not really a lot of leadership anywhere in the markets at the moment. So hopefully that will change as we come into the end of the week. But we do have ADP numbers coming out. They're expected to show 500,000 new jobs. The employment numbers are also coming out on Friday when the markets are closed. I'll cover all this stuff in the live stream tomorrow. If the ADP report comes out as expected, it's going to be a pretty substantial number, even though it doesn't have a lot of correlation to the employment numbers coming out on Friday. Those numbers expected to show 661. I saw that some economists are expecting up to 1 million. So I've seen a range of about 550 to 1 million new jobs to be generated on Friday while the markets close. And as I mentioned, this is going to set the tone for a very interesting opening on Sunday night, depending on how this number comes out. Unemployment's expected to downtick 0.2 as well. But as we look back on yesterday, we did get that Case-Shiller number, and this is that underlying inflation. It showed 11.1 year-over-year increase in the prices of real estate, and that's an aggregate. So there's some areas that are way hotter than that, depending on how the migration is happening, and primarily with the folks coming out of California right now. This is definitely driving a lot of the western states right now into Texas, and we're obviously seeing a lot of movement down into Florida as well, as there's virtually no inventory available anywhere, so they're just jacking these prices up. As we come into Friday morning, we're really just flat in the markets. There's no action overnight. There's not a lot to talk about. So what I'm going to do tonight is just give you some numbers that you can look at, some minor expectations for the opening, and then I'll see you at 1:30 Eastern time tomorrow at the live stream. I just want to apologize for last night. I had a lot of technical issues. I had a corrupted file, didn't get to cover gold. I'll do a brief coverage on gold. It took a pretty big hit underneath that 1700 level today, and I'll talk about that. But tomorrow on the live stream, I hate to direct you to that, but that's where I'll be able to have the time to really do justice for what's going on in the metals and other markets. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chart, see how Wednesday morning's setting up. As I review the WaveTech database, we did see 290 new buy signals and 129 sell signals. We've moved the bullish percent up to 29.23. So we're continuing to see some traction come in on the database, very slight traction at that. We currently have 4,802 symbols long out of the 16,426 in the database. So there's a long way to go to get substantial traction and start to indicate that this market's ready to really do a sustained rally. As it turns out, we just continue to be in this choppy sideways range, even though we've managed to print a new high last week and some of the indices. But from a database viewpoint, we're still not in a stage where this database is ready to rotate and signal a sustained rally on a short-term basis. As I review the S&P futures, we've been waffling between a +3 and a -3 handles overnight. We're at 39.48, basically unchanged. You're looking at the PPM1 is down slightly. The 10-period moving average is drifting lower. PPMs are neutral across the board. As I said, there's no real leadership or any trend in this market right now, as we're just stalled completely here. Now, whether or not this announcement on infrastructure and all of this can actually do something tomorrow, we'll find out. But it doesn't look like the markets are poised to do anything much at the moment. But we do continue to hold above key support levels and primarily above the 10, 21, and 40-period moving averages, which are clustered fairly close together right now. There's some vulnerability to the downside, just the way this thing's trading, as we're seeing the market grid actually compress just a little bit. Looking at the grid for today, S1 39.36, the lows 39.43, 39.57 high overnight. Basically have traded up toward R1 39.59, S1 39.36. Also, we have the S2 at 39.23, which matches perfect to the 10-period moving average. So that will be an extreme. I don't see us getting below that level. Chances are we're going to see an S1 possibility of printing up toward R2 if we can get above this 39.59, which looks fairly likely. As we look at the SPX, you'll see that the market grid is starting to compress substantially. There is risk in this. Typically, when it gets too narrow, we'll see the market roll over. The likelihood would be, on an extreme right now, would be a move down to 39.07, 38.99, which would be a move into the moving averages. We did that last week. I still think we're going to hold over here. PPMs are as neutral as you can be here. And the same as in the futures, I expect it to hold above that 39.07, 38.99. I don't see it getting below those levels. Just a quick look at the market grid for today. You'll see the R1 38.68 and S1 39.48. So look for an S1, possibility of an R2 number tomorrow. If we did penetrate through 39.48, then S2 39.37 would be the next support levels. So the pivot numbers are the S1, R1 numbers for today. Next market to cover is the NASDAQ. It is very flat. We're just hovering right through the moving averages in the last 3 sessions. We're looking at the 10-period moving average, 12,892. The 21 at 12,850. Right now we're trading 12,874. The low 12,858. So we look at the market grid for today. S1 12,821. R1 12,934. The high has been 12,924. So we're close to an R1. Just like with the S&P, we'll be looking at a S1 R2 range for today. Next market I'll cover is the Russell. As I mentioned in the opening comments, I'll look at this just briefly. The PPMs on the Russell are still very negative. Even though we were able to rebound yesterday, there's a lot of resistance overhead. PPM1 is at a -0.55. That value is 23.06 on the cash. It's unlikely that we'll get above that level if we continue to rally. If we look at the market grid, it did turn up after yesterday's action. Market grid expectations on the cash Russell is for R1 2208, which matches with that 10-period moving average. Above that would be 2222. That's going to be a bit of a stretch to get up there, but it's possible that all these markets are going to print an S1R2 today. Let's take a quick look at the spread. And the Russell NASDAQ spread, as I mentioned in the opening comments, all we're seeing is a scratching out of a potential bottom in this spread. It may be able to move back and continue to outperform the NASDAQ for a couple days, but it doesn't look like the spread is going to go to a new high. And in fact, probably in the next couple of days, we'll see it come back to retest the lows in the spread. So I'll keep a close watch on this as we go through this week. The final market tonight will be gold. Gold declined substantially yesterday. In fact, it did get an STS buy signal. STX yesterday was 1691. The low yesterday 1678. The close 1686. So that is a buy signal. We should see a couple of days sideways to up in gold. But we're not seeing acceleration on the PPM1. In fact, these PPMs continue to move in this sideways range, and this has been like a slow bleeding as this market has just been drifting sideways, and finally we saw some selling coming into this market yesterday. So we should see a stabilization, and I will go through a full detailed account of daily, weekly, monthly, both on gold and silver tomorrow in the live stream. So this will complete the video for tonight. Thank you for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at 1:30 New York time for live stream. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Hey folks, if you enjoyed this content, make sure you subscribe, hit that like button and the notification bell so you'll know when I do these videos.